Hi, and welcome back to the Uncensored Journey podcast, where we say whatever the fuck we want because it's our journey, like it or not. I am Cindy, and with me, as always, is Gabriella. Gabriella is going to take it away today. We have a special guest, and I'm excited for you guys to meet her. And Gabriella will introduce her now.
Thank you, Cindy. So today we have a really special guest close to my heart and someone that I've looked up to my entire life. And that is my mom. Her name is Doina. And she's been on a physical and spiritual healing journey, really like more seriously and more committed since I started my journey. And it's been really, really beautiful to bounce ideas off of her and to explore things together. And so, a little fun fact, we started as being vegan together. My mom used to be carnivore, eat everything under the sun. And then she joined me on this journey of being vegan and having a plant-based diet. And it supported her for a while. And she did have some positive results. And then she didn't. And so she started exploring and looking at other ways of eating, with the primary purpose of reducing her prediabetes to being officially off of any potential lists and just to be in full integrity with her health and to also improve her insulin resistance. And so now she's doing something different. We actually went back to being omnivore and we're eating meat and all the animal products under the sun. And I'm really excited to facilitate this conversation between Cindy and my mom, Doina, and also chime in when appropriate. So without further ado, welcome, Doina. It was so nice to have you on the call. And I can't wait to learn more from both of you. So this is for both Cindy and my mom, and we'll start with my mom because she's our honorary guest. What has your experience been with healing through food so far, and how did that impact how you look at food?
So, first, thank you for inviting me. I am very excited to be here and to be able to share my own experience. One correction in your presentation is that before vegan, I wasn't carnivore, I was omnivore. So I ate everything accordingly, almost 100% with what the food pyramid recommended us to eat. I had some restriction from long time about sugar and bread, but in the rest of the component of the food pyramid, I was there. And I wasn't too happy. I wasn't feel too well, but I said, oh, okay, that is the aging process. So that is, no, I can't complain. I did what I did all life. And after a while, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. And I was very curious what that means. What is the future for me? And I started to read, to learn, and to see what is going on and what will be the future for me. I didn't grasp too much the reality. I followed the regular restriction that they said to us, but nothing changed to me. I was prescribed metformin. I was very conscious and I took it, and nothing changed for me. The same biomarkers. And I said, I am good because I am not diabetic. That was my thinking. And after a while in 2019, Gabriela introduced me to vegan diet. And it was a very good change. I felt very well. And what improved, I didn't have so many arthritis pains. I didn't have constipation. And in generally speaking, I was good enough for 1 year. And then everything started to change little by little. Brain fog, arthritis was back, weight started to go up again, a lot of gas, a lot of bloating, and everything. I wasn't happy. I was anxious and depressed, and I didn't know what to do. So I went back to my learning mode. And the next change was for vegan keto. There were less carbohydrates. In my journey, I learned that my body started to have the symptoms for carbohydrate toxicity. I never heard about this, but everything was what happened to me. I could recognize, oh, that is me. And when I started to cut down the carbohydrates, because in vegan, everything has carbohydrates. You can, very hard, you can have a real vegan keto diet. And because of my toxicity, I couldn't, my digestive system couldn't take any carbs, even if it was only a salad or something, leafy greens. And I continued to learn. I continued to study. And the next step was to introduce the most nutritive aliment food in this world, that is the egg. I was amazed when I saw how nutritious can be the egg. Has everything what our body needs, less calcium. So you can complete this element eating a little cheese. And I ate in my food, in my diet, I added the salmon for omega-3s. That was good. Yeah, it helped. But how many eggs can you eat? They said by numbers that if you eat 5 eggs per day, you have absolutely everything you need to be healthy from nutritional point of view. So yeah, it is, for me, was hard. So 2 eggs were good, but 5 were too much. And I was again better, but not good enough. So I was lucky, I guess, to find some very good information on YouTube. And I could relate with myself, with my struggles. And I said, okay, I will give a try. And that is about the zero carb diet. And going very deep on a rabbit hole, I could find amazing things, and I was overwhelmed by how many things I knew wrong in my life. So the first thing that I learned is the only essential macronutrients that we need. There are only fat, and protein. The carbohydrates are not essential. Protein and fats are essential for thriving. The carbohydrates are only for survival. When you don't have these big nutrients in your life, like protein and fat, you can survive for a while only with plants. But there are a lot of side effects of using only plants in your diet. And the first one is you need to eat huge quantities of these plants to get the minimum of nutrients that you need, not you, your body. So it was a funny note that I found. If you want to have 3,000 calories per day, eating only plants, you should eat 10 pounds of carrots, 35 pounds of fruit and leafy greens, 6 pounds of potatoes, and so on. So yeah, it's true. In the plants, you can find everything you need, but the quantities that you need to eat, they are huge and unsustainable. And the second part, the second side effect that is totally undesirable for plant food diet is about the toxins that every plant has. They are part of the defense system of the plant. The plant doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to be eaten. So always the plant develops something to for them to become poisonous for somebody if they eat them. And one the main toxin that many plants have in big quantities are the oxalates, and they accumulate over time. The biggest concentrates of oxalates you find in spinach and almonds. And of course, everybody say, oh, spinach is very good for iron. Do you know how much iron do you absorb from spinach? 1.5%. That is all. And another dangerous toxin that plants have, they are lectins. And for this reason, if, for example, if you want to eat beans, you must them soak. You can't eat them raw. If you, by any means, if you try to eat them raw, you will die. And the phytates are other toxins, anti-nutrients, and what they do, they bind with the minerals from our body. So, and you can absorb the iron, you can absorb the zinc or the other important elements that you need for good function. So that was my my understanding and about what I did wrong, why I didn't feel well. I didn't know what changed with me. I am the same person. I have the same way to live. I am not different. And in the same time, I was very different. I was anxious. I was depressed. I didn't want to do anything. I couldn't read. My brain fog was so big that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't recognize myself. And when I started, of course, it was a long journey and everything happened gradually. But finally, when I had 0 carbs in my diet. In matter of days, I felt very well. I started to lose my visceral fat. That is the most dangerous fat that we can have. My waistline went down from 35 to 30. I know that will go further, lower than 30. I have 2 months of zero carb. 1 month of zero carb and 1 month previously under 10 grams of carbs. So practically I can say that I had 2 months and the change is absolutely amazing.
That is tremendous progress, and thank you so much for all the background information around your transformation. I really want to hear from Cindy and to learn and to hear her story and what's been your experience, Cindy, with food, and how did that impact the way you look at food?
Same. No. Thanks, Doina, for all that. I have a very similar path. I say I'm a recovering vegan. I was a vegan for almost 18 years. And in that time, I had a lot of the same symptoms and a lot of the same situations happening to me. I gained a lot of weight. I had the brain fog. I forgot a lot of things, like becoming really weak-minded and not being able to think or think critically, which was very important too for me. But being a vegan for that long, and it has really affected my long-term health as well. And I have my hormones don't balance like they should, and my cortisol levels don't balance like they should. And it also gave me an unrealistic view on food. And it was like an all or nothing mentality, which messed with my mindset a lot. But also, I knew I was lacking nutrients, but I just kept wanting to have that label of vegan. So I just kept doing it, knowing that it was harmful. My doctor's saying, please eat meat, please eat meat, please eat meat. But I finally eventually ate meat, and it's been a journey for me with that. It took digestive enzymes and some therapy to get back on the meat train, but I finally did. And I went from very restrictive vegan to very restrictive paleo. And that is, meat, fruits, vegetables, some nuts and seeds. And that was again, another super restrictive thing, but my body started to get a little better, and the brain fog had lifted, and I was able to start to think critically again. And I was getting the nutrients that I needed. But I still wasn't able to, like, my journey is more about like the weight loss and like feeling good about myself. And I was still not able to lose weight, but that also has to do with like, cortisol levels and hormones and things that I can't fix because of the damage that I did for so long with vegan. And I also, you had mentioned the food pyramid, and that's just a big freaking lie. And to find out that, to like readjust what you have been taught your whole life, what's healthy, has been quite the journey for me. That mindset of, this is healthy, no, it's not. And I discovered this doctor named Paul Saladino, and he advocates no vegetables. He's meat, raw dairy, and fruit, and honey. And he talks a lot about the toxicity in vegetables, and how that their defense mechanism is to put out toxins because they have no other defense mechanism, and that's how they they're trying to survive in nature. And I've taken on that. So I've taken on that kind of that theory about eating now. And I thought for a really long time that I was lactose intolerant, and milk really upset my stomach. And really, it was the process in which they pasteurize milk. It's pasteurization is a process. So it's like processed food. You're eating a processed food. So, the raw dairy has been a life changer for me. I eat raw cheese. I drink, I put raw milk in my protein shakes. and that kind of stuff. And, there's the like raw cream and raw butter. And it's been a really big game changer for me in terms of getting some of the nutrients that I need. But, the biggest part for me is mindset, because trying to throw out all of the stuff that you're constantly either you're constantly consuming in like social media or commercials, or just the propaganda in general that you're told, like, this is healthy, this is healthy, this is healthy. I've given up Western medicine a long time ago, but there still seems to be that, like, here, have some Brussels sprouts, they're healthy. Here, have broccoli, it's healthy. Come to find out, broccoli is genetically modified. Like, there's no such thing as broccoli in nature. They cross-pollinated stuff and came up with broccoli. So now I'm just under the assumption that they're trying to kill us. So don't trust anything you read or hear. Find out for yourself and do some research. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
been quite a journey. But that's how we learn, and that's how we get there. And I also have found that cooking for myself, I guess we'll get into that a little later, but cooking for myself has helped too. Like, I cook everything from scratch. I know exactly what's in every single bite that I take. I know exactly what intention was set behind that meal. And that's been a game changer too, making sure I know and have all the nutrients that I need, but also knowing where they come from. So yeah, I'll shut up there and let you finish.
That's right. That's right. 100%. So I want to talk a little bit about and see where you both stand on how can food choices contribute to your physical and mental well-being. And I know my mom already covered that, and so did you, Cindy. But really, what role does nutrition play in the healing process? And when I say healing process, I mean holistically, not just the physical body, but overall well-being.
Doina, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So for me, these last weeks are very important to understand my body language, my body signals that I got and I ignored for a long time before. Everything before was for granted. Okay, I eat everything I want, and if I don't, it doesn't bother me. I will continue. And now I could understand what is the meaning of be satiated or satisfied. What means not to be hungry? What means to forget about food for 4 or 5 hours because you are full and you don't care? And that means your insulin is low. That means your hormones have enough fat for their function. That means you have enough protein for your body, in general speaking, to function properly. And I understood what means to eat animal fat. The animal fat is the backbone of our hormones. Without animal fat, we have hormones that they don't have their basic fuel to function. So I didn't know this. I didn't understand this. And it's not the same with vegetable oils. Now, that must be animal fat. The best for me is the butter. I can find a very good grass-fed cow's butter, and that is very tasty and is very good, and it works perfectly with me. On the other hand, if your hormones work well, your mind is again, very well influenced, is very much helped by the consumption of animal fat, because our brain is 60% fat. The rest, 40%, is a mix of protein, water, and 1% glucose. So when we heard all the time, oh, I need glucose for my brain to work, is a myth or a misinformation. Take what you want to. For our brain, we need animal fat. So take a note and check for yourself. But my take from this was that I need to eat fat. I started to eat fat and I felt much better. I so good, because of course I believe that is true, because anything that I did before, it didn't work, and now it works. So yeah, is sustainable for me, and it's easy to do. Maybe I will have something else to add, but I think so. It is about well-being, yes, only well-being.
Well, physical and mental, and I think
Physical and mental. Yeah, always I had in my mind a Latin saying, mens sana in corpore sano. So you can have a healthy mind in a healthy body. So if you have a healthy body, for sure, your mind will be good. Your brain will be good. So that is my take. Take care of your body, and everything will fall in place.
I agree with that. Thank you for that. I have a very similar take on this as well. I had mentioned before, I had to get out of the mindset that like vegan was healthy and like certain things were healthy. But like Oreos are vegan and they're not healthy. They're just full of gross stuff. And I agree with you, seed oils are the devil. And I stopped eating those as well. I get my fats too from not just animal fats, but avocados and things of those natures in fruits, some fruits. But I really think that if you feel good physically, you feel good mentally, and the way you feel good physically is by what you put in and on your body. And I do like I make my own laundry detergent, my own cleaning stuff, because I want to know what's in it and what's going on my body, because that stuff seeps through, and I don't want to make sure I want to make sure that I'm having the correct things. But I think too, for me, is hydration. Like people don't drink enough water. And I think a lot of times you're just thirsty when people it's like, oh, I'm hungry. And that's why, that for me anyways, that's why I end up snacking a lot, is because I really am thirsty. So I started drinking at least a gallon of water a day. And, I do some different, I use like natural electrolytes like salt, lemon, honey. And sometimes I'll put that in water to make it taste a little bit different than just water. But hydration, I think, is a really big key to like not feeling hungry or deprived all day. It keeps you full, and it keeps me from not snacking all day. But yeah, I just think that my mental well-being is just so much better if I'm eating well. Sugar, specifically, like not fruit sugar, but processed granulated white sugar is if I have any of that, I can feel the effects almost immediately. My joints start to ache, my brain starts to get all funky. I just want to lay down or sit and not do anything. But the days that I'm eating well and nothing, like no sugars or stuff, and I feel great. And I think we also sometimes forget that bread breaks down into sugar in your system. So even if you're not eating quote unquote sugar, it breaks down into your system as sugar. So I think that's where the bread part comes from. I'm not a scientist, nor do I claim to be, but I just know from the years and years of trying to figure out what's best for me, finding little things like that. So I 100% like your physical and mental well-being has to do with the nutrition and the things that you put in and on your body, and it helps, those things also help with your healing process. So
Thank you
If I
both.
may, if I may add something, we need to understand we are very different. So for some people, the vegan, the plant-based diet will work very well for a while at least. Yeah, for some other people, it won't work. So everybody, what is my point? Everybody needs to find its its diet, the diet that works very well for it. But you need to pay attention what you eat, how you feel, and how you thrive. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We all have our unique DNAs, and also depending on where you are in your life cycle, you may need different things. So that is a great point. You got to observe what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then stick with what works. What myths or misconceptions about certain diets or superfoods do you feel like needs additional exploring, and also we should warn our listeners about what are some of those things that you guys want to bring up and that are completely wrong, or there's complete misinformation around them? Cindy, go for it. Let's start with you now.
I think a misconception is that superfoods are a cure-all, right? Like superfoods are always marketed that it's a miracle cure for this or miracle cure for that, and suggesting that consuming them, like that only consuming those can prevent or treat diseases. And superfoods, some of them are nutrient dense, sorry, and they can contribute to like your overall health, but there's not one single food that is like that's a cure-all, right? And just a balanced diet, a very like balanced diet and healthy lifestyle is better for you in creating this a cure-all, or containing or creating a diet that works for you. And I think it's also worth mentioning that that superfoods can be used like as a part of your holistic journey, but not like standalone solutions. The other thing I would say is like one size fits all diets, like you had mentioned before. Like not everything's going to work for everybody. I do feel like vegan is not good for anybody, and I will die on that soapbox, because every single person I know and I know a lot because I was a vegan for a really long time, has all gone back to eating animal products of some sort, because it's just not a healthy lifestyle. But I will die on that soapbox, and you can't convince me otherwise. So anyways, but like you had mentioned before, nutritional needs and that health conditions are vary from person to person, and lifestyle factors and where people live and that kind of things. But but also like there's the factors of like age and gender. Like women need different nutrients than men, and different amounts of protein or different amounts of fat. Like women need more fat than men. It's just biologically a fact, and where we get those fats is up to us, I guess. But I think the best thing is, like you had mentioned too, is just personalized nutrition, tailoring for your specific needs, and also your preferences. There's some things that I don't like to eat, and some things I love to eat, and I know that's true with most people. But and also the other last thing I want to mention is like extreme restrictions for like detoxification, and like extreme detox diets that like sometimes, well, I just don't think that they're very they're very good for you, like super extreme detox. You know, I'm a big faster. I'll do like fasts here and there, but trying to get your body to thinking that like an extreme detox can rid your body of all the toxins and everything that you and everything that you want to get rid of by drinking like something specific or eating something specific or relying on one specific thing is not realistic. You know, our body already has built-in mechanisms for detoxing, and you know, if our liver and our kidneys and our other organs are doing their jobs like they're supposed to, and I think that they get to that point by proper diet and nutrition, then we don't there's that need for the extreme detoxing is no longer prevalent. And I also think sometimes like the extreme detoxing or extreme dieting is more detrimental than health. Like you might see right benefits short term, but long term, it's not going to work out. Again, you know, a sustainable, balanced diet and just making sure like, you know, patterns and consistency, you know, you know, working out and eating well and letting your body do what it was made to do and make sure all your organs are working.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Mom, what about you?
About meats, oh my God, I could do have a one day for this podcast. So there are so many, and some of them are practically you can't believe that is true, but the reality is much more weird than fiction. So I was curious how the vegan movement started, and I discovered that probably the person who started this movement was a big personality of the 19th century. Her name was Ellen G. White, and she founded the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She had in her life a lot of God visions, and in one of her visions, God told her that the people shouldn't eat meat. And that was the beginning, practically, for what we have today, plant-based food diet. And she wrote it a lot. She was really big. She wrote it maybe 40 books about hygiene, about what we should eat and what should not eat, and everything about a healthy lifestyle. And she founded the Loma Linda University. And very soon she hired a very good physician that he invented the cornflakes breakfast. His name was Kellogg. And yeah, now everything starts to go around this idea. And later on, from this university, started an idea where we have the most long-living people. And that was the Blue Zone idea born. And Loma Linda is one of the 5 places on this world where you can find the most centenarian. And it is a little weird because vegan stole this idea and started to sell us that the blue and the blue zones, that long-living people, they don't eat meat. That was a fallacy. It wasn't true at all. And in Loma Linda community, where we have the vast majority, they are Adventist, they are not 100% vegan. Only maybe 20 or 30% are vegan, the rest are vegetarian. They eat milk product and they eat some fish. So they are not 100% vegans. So anyway, another myth that was born in non-professional way, in my view, was the fat is bad for human consumption. A very famous and very famous physicist in our country, his name was Ace Key. He had this idea, why we have so many cardiovascular diseases. And this was his personal conviction. The animal fat is the main culprit. And he started a very complex study. He visited 35 countries and wanted to find the correlation between the number of cardiovascular diseases and the consumption of animal fat. And he didn't find what he wanted. So in the end, he published the 7-country study, not the 35. And the conclusion in that book was there is a big correlation between animal fat and cardiovascular diseases. But this is where we have a small detail. When he visited that 7-country, it was Lent in Europe. So many countries, when they are in Lent, people don't eat animal products at all. So something, it wasn't very fair in the study, but because he was so famous, nobody thought that something can be wrong. So that was in 1950, 1960. They declared completely true statement over the years. Animal fat is very bad for human consumption and is very dangerous for strokes and cardiovascular diseases until today. And if you go everywhere on Google, you will find the same mantra. Animal fat is bad for human consumption. And we have other myths about red meat. Red meat is very bad. I consider all my life I didn't eat red meat because, oh my God, that is wrong. I don't want to have cardiovascular disease. I don't eat butter because I don't want to be sick. And I was completely wrong. And what is my support in this idea that these are myths? From the doctors that I follow on YouTube, I could learn that there is no hard scientific study that supports this myth. There are some studies made on mice or rabbits in laboratory. That is not real life, and we are not mice. So if you transfer everything that you obtain on a mice study to humans, I think is a little too much stretch. And that is about a lot of myths. And here I can say something else. In the last 40, 50 years, we have, at least in USA, a rise of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So big, and is not justified by anything because you have a lot of children with this disease. What is the main culprit? The main culprit is the sugar, is the carbohydrates that we consume in excess. And what is the connection with the meat? In actual blood test, you have the normal range where you should have your value to have to be considered healthy. And today, this limit is that ALT, a specific test for your fatty liver, should be less than 40 units. And Dr. Robert Lustig, one of the main researchers in this field, he said, 50 years ago, this limit was 25. Why now is less than 40? Because now a lot of people have fatty liver with no diagnostic. So if everybody will have that low limit, like a threshold, everybody will be sick, will be considered sick with fatty liver disease, and that is not okay from their point of view. So speaking about the lab test, never take in consideration all range, all spectrum of the value. Take what is in the middle, because the extremities are very rare and don't align with what is in reality. And that is the case with the less than 40 for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And there are thousands of ideas, and I found a very consistent and determined group of doctors. They want to ignore the limit, the frame that was imposed them, and they are not afraid to tell the truth.
And I know we could talk about that
Yes.
for seasons of episodes on this podcast. And no, I really appreciate you bringing up all those myths. And
Before we move, sorry, so can I just add one thing to the end of her thing? The soy myth. Soy is horrible for you. It's one of the other things that we were sold as a superfood, as super nutritious. It's disgusting for your body. And we're also sold the myth that organ meat is not something that we should be eating, but organ meats, with the red meat situation that you talked about, giving you the nutrients. The organ meats make so much sense that if you're eating liver, it's healing liver. If you're eating kidneys, it's healing kidneys. And I'm not going to lie and say that I eat it. I definitely take it in a supplement. However, I do see the benefits, and we're definitely sold the opposite. So
yeah. And,
sorry to cut you off.
No, all good. And I mean, let's just be honest and frank. The corporate environment, the corporations, the government does not have your best interest at heart, and that's a fact.
Well, we're easy to control when we're weak-minded and fat and can't move, right? So it's unhealthy.
So is the mentality, and yet we have this thing called free will and choice.
Absolutely.
So we have a couple more questions, and we are going to wrap it up for today's episode. So are there any practices or rituals that you do around food that positively impact your overall well-being?
Yes, before I start to cook something with meat, I like the old habit, old custom to ask for forgiveness and to thank to the animal that feeds you. And because I am a animal lover, and it was hard for me to go back for eating meat, but I choose my well-being and my health. And another thing that I do, if I am in bad mood, I don't. I don't want to transmit bad vibes to the food. So that is all.
That's awesome. What about you, Cindy?
Well, I think maybe Doina might be my mom because we are very similar in this, so maybe we could trade. But I'm just kidding.
No way. I don't think so.
I do cooking is meditative for me, and so when I am in a bad mood, that switches my mood to something positive and exciting to do. It's helped me get through a lot of grieving. It's helped me get through a lot of heartbreak. It's helped me get through a lot of just bad times in general. Just the thought, like I could just zone out and just chop things up. Or I'm a big baker. I know we talked about the dangers of all this stuff, but I always just take it and give it to somebody else. But just the process of it, I enjoy creating the food that I eat. As I mentioned before, I rarely do I eat out. It has to be a very special occasion, but I like to know what's in my food. So knowing what's in it is super important to me, and putting the love and attention into the food that I cook makes it better when it's consumed. Like you said, you don't want the bad vibes in your food. And also, I think I definitely appreciate and am grateful for the food that I'm eating, because I'm proud of it, and I'm getting to eat something that I created. It's like eating a piece of art. And it's different every time, and I get to try new things and be creative, and just makes me happy. So I definitely do that. My sister always prays over my food, so I often keep that in mind too. I don't necessarily pray over my food, but I'm always just like, hey universe, don't let me die, or don't let this be poison, or don't let there be something in it, something along those lines. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I lately, over the last couple of years, I've been also expressing gratitude, similar to what my mom's been saying. Just being grateful for all the people that have contributed to bringing this food to my doorstep or in my plate. So the farmers, the drivers, like literally everyone. So that's been really helpful as I also transition into an omnivore diet myself. So last question, what advice do you guys have for someone that is starting to read more about healthy food and healing themselves through food? What are some tips or strategies that you recommend? Yeah. You want to go first, Mom?
Yeah. So first of all, take the responsibility of your health. If you are healthy, don't take for granted everything. If you are not healthy, if you have some metabolic disorders, some overweight, or everything that is related with your metabolism, learn, do your homework, find what resonates with you, and try. Try to see if it works with you or not. Learn your body language, the signals that the body sends to you. Do you feel energetic after you eat, or you are sleepy? Do you feel tired, or you are ready to go for a hike, etc.? In the same idea. So pay attention. That is
Notice. I love it.
Awesome.
You.
I think getting started takes some planning. So, I like to create weekly menus to make sure I'm not like, I'm not scrambling to find something to eat. I always know what I'm going to be eating that day and plan accordingly with my shopping, with my what I take out of the freezer, what exactly do I need. That way I'm not like trying to snack on crap or things that I don't need to be eating. Also being able to really embrace a balanced diet, embracing the change, embracing the things that make you feel good. And like also mindful eating, like Doina was mentioning, what makes you feel good? Keep a journal of what you're eating. Well, I do this. I keep a journal of what I'm eating, and I note on there like how it made me feel, if I felt energetic or if I felt sluggish or felt, and then adjust accordingly. I've talked about this earlier too, is like stay hydrated. Um, I know I oftentimes we definitely um think that hunger is that you're hungry when you're really just dehydrated. And there's a really high percentage, I can't remember of it now, that of people that are just dehydrated walking around just dehydrated because they're not drinking enough water. They're drinking coffee or uh, energy drinks or Gatorade, like full of sugar Gatorades and like things like that, and it's just not hydrating you. um I think it's also helpful to like include like colorful food, so like it's a little bit more exciting and pretty to eat. Um, and also it helps me try new things. Um, Also keeping in mind moderation, but not like not depriving myself of something. So um just being mindful of again what I'm eating, but not saying, oh, I'm not going to eat that today because I had that yesterday, or I'm not going to eat that because I had two of this today. You know Trying to be just mindful like that. And again, listening to my body and making sure that um I'm not eating like emotionally, or I'm not eating to cope with like stress or emotions. Like I'm eating because I'm actually hungry. And also for me, a big one was stopping eating when I'm not hungry anymore. So just because I make a portion of something, it could be like well, it's the portion that it's recommended, or how much protein I'm supposed to be eating through the day. When I'm not hungry anymore, stop eating. And also just exploring new foods and trying new things, and experimenting with cooking and trying new techniques and trying out different ways to do stuff. I'm a big animal fat cooker. When I cook with animal fats, I save my bacon grease. When we trim off beef, my brother saves me fat. I render it down into tallow. I cook with tallow. um, Fuck seed oils. They suck, so I stopped using those. I'll use avocado oil because it comes from a fruit. Avocado is a fruit, and for those of you that don't know, that avocado is a fruit. And so I'll use avocado oil in a pinch, but butters and like animal fats. I cook in animal fats, and also like making sure that I intermittent fast. So making sure that the two meals that I eat in the day and my scheduled snacks are consistent throughout the day, like throughout every day, so that it's not something that I'm like trying to scramble and figure out. And then the biggest part for me was shifting my mindset, because like I had mentioned before, shifting my mindset to the fact that what I'm told is healthy isn't healthy. And I have to like shift all of that out of my brain so that I can then do what's healthy for me. And also having some self-compassion when I'm not perfect at eating every single day, and um trying to just nourish my body and my mind, and realizing that this is a lifelong journey and I get to try again tomorrow, or I get to try again at the next meal. And not being so restrictive and so hard on myself that it's not fun. I know this is kind of dumb, and I'm just going to throw it out there, but I also try to eat my meals on pretty plates, because then it makes it feel like a special thing instead of just like a plain like white plate or something. So one meal a day I'll eat on like a pretty plate that I bought at Goodwill, like it's like a china plate. And it just makes it a little bit it makes meals feel special, right? So anyways, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think my mom has been your mom in a past life, because that sounds exactly like something she would do, and I love it.
I encourage everybody to get pretty plates.
Yeah, no, I think that's so powerful, and I'm so grateful for both of you for bringing your wisdom, your knowledge, and just your suggestions and strategies and support. This is a topic that we could, literally have seasons upon seasons, and maybe we will someday.
Part
Um,
2.
yeah, part two. There's always a possibility, and there's always an option. Yeah. So use discernment in whatever diet you choose, or whatever way of thinking about food that you choose, and then get curious. Like both my mom and Cindy said, journal, take notice, observe. Thank you both so much. Did anyone have anything else to add, or we're complete for the day?
I'd like to thank to few mentors that I had on YouTube. So I need to mention them because everything I learn and everything I experimented, it is because of them. So the first one is Dr. Ken Berry. He is the most common sense doctor that you possibly find on this planet, I guess. He is so direct, and he uses all his knowledge to help us, to make us to understand better what is important for us. He even wrote a book, Lie That Doctors Tell You. So he's a doctor, but he wanted to emphasize what are the myths, what are the lies, what are the misinformation that we have for years. Some young people, they don't know other truth. They take these lies as absolutely true. Another doctor is Sean Baker. He was, because he wanted to get out of the box. He wanted to help his patients. He was he lost his medical license. He is orthopedic surgeon, and he wanted to help his patients to lose weight before the surgery. And they lost the weight, and they didn't need anymore that surgery. And for this reason, the hospital decided to fire him and to take him license. And he is now on YouTube, and you can find him very easy. Thomas Seyfried found that the cancer is metabolic, not genetic disease. So if you take out completely the carbohydrates from alimentation, you starve to death the cancer cells. So that is huge. That is something absolutely fantastic to discover after so many years of study and research on cancer. Stan Ekberg, Robert Lustig, I mentioned, Ben Bigman. Oh my God, that is probably in the future he will have the Nobel Prize. Jason Fung, Shan O'Mara, nutritionist. Judy Chao has a very good channel on YouTube. And two influencers, Rina and Bella, they have very good channels, and they invite always very good doctors that share and answer to the question that we have. So go on YouTube and find what is really good. That was all.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for all the suggestions. Thank you all for joining and for tuning in, and stay tuned for our next episode, released on Mondays.
Like and subscribe and follow us and do all of that stuff too. Until next time.